The Green Lantern Corps was founded over 3 billion years ago by the Guardians of the Universe, ancient beings who sought to bring order to the chaotic cosmos. These blue-skinned immortals created the central power battery on the planet Oa, which became the source of willpower energy that fuels every Green Lantern ring in existence. Willpower is considered the most balanced emotion on the spectrum, making Green Lanterns incredibly versatile warriors. Their rings can create virtually anything the wielder can imagine, from simple shields and swords to complex machinery and entire buildings. The only real limitation is the user's creativity and their willpower to maintain the constructs. Green Lanterns are chosen based on their ability to overcome great fear, making them natural leaders and protectors. The Corps operates like a cosmic police force, with over 7,000 members patrolling different sectors of the universe. Each Lantern is assigned a specific space sector to protect, and they work together to maintain peace and justice across countless worlds. Famous Green Lanterns include Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Guy Gardner, and Kyle Rayner, each bringing their own unique perspective and abilities to the Corps. But the Green Lanterns have a weakness that has plagued them throughout their history. Their rings were originally powerless against anything colored yellow, a flaw deliberately programmed by the Guardians to prevent the rings from affecting Parallax, the living embodiment of fear that they had imprisoned within the central power battery. This weakness has been overcome by experienced Lanterns who can push through their fear, but it represents a fundamental vulnerability in their power. Now, speaking of fear, let's talk about the Corps that thrives on terror itself. The Sinestro Corps harnesses the yellow light of fear, and they represent everything the Green Lanterns stand against. Founded by the former Green Lantern Thal Sinestro, this organization believes that order can only be maintained through fear and intimidation. Where Green Lanterns inspire hope, Yellow Lanterns spread terror. Sinestro was once considered the greatest Green Lantern who ever lived, but his methods became increasingly authoritarian. He used his ring to rule his home planet Korugar with an iron fist, believing that fear was more effective than willpower in maintaining peace. When the Guardians discovered his actions, they stripped him of his ring and banished him to the antimatter universe of Quard. In Quard, Sinestro discovered the yellow light of fear and forged the first yellow power ring from the antimatter energy of that universe. He recruited other beings who shared his philosophy that fear was the ultimate weapon for maintaining order. The Sinestro Corps became a twisted mirror of the Green Lantern Corps, with members chosen specifically for their ability to instill great fear in others. Yellow Lantern rings function similarly to Green Lantern rings, creating constructs based on the wielder's will and imagination. However, these constructs are powered by fear rather than willpower, making them particularly effective against beings who are easily frightened. The rings also grant their users the ability to fly, survive in space, and generate protective force fields. What makes the Sinestro Corps truly dangerous is their recruitment process. Unlike Green Lanterns, who are chosen for their heroic qualities, Yellow Lanterns are selected based on their capacity for inspiring fear. This often means recruiting psychopaths, dictators, and monsters from across the universe. Members like Arkillo, a massive alien with razor-sharp teeth, and Crib, who collects children from murdered Lanterns, represent the absolute worst that sentient life has to offer. The Corps operates from the planet Quard in the antimatter universe, where they've built a massive citadel that serves as their headquarters. Unlike the orderly structure of the Green Lantern Corps, the Sinestro Corps encourages competition and conflict among its members, believing that fear makes them stronger. This internal strife often leads to power struggles, but it also ensures that only the most ruthless and effective fearmongers rise to positions of leadership. The ultimate goal of the Sinestro Corps extends far beyond simple conquest. They seek to remake the entire universe in their image, creating a reality where fear dominates every aspect of existence. They believe that sentient beings are inherently chaotic and destructive, and that only through absolute terror can true peace be achieved. The Sinestro Corps has waged multiple devastating wars against the Green Lanterns, with the most significant being the Sinestro Corps War that nearly brought the universe to its knees. During this conflict, Sinestro revealed his master plan to transform the Green Lanterns into killers by forcing them to abandon their moral code. He succeeded in getting the Guardians to rewrite the Book of Oa, allowing Green Lanterns to use lethal force when necessary. In Sinestro's twisted mind, this represented a victory because he had corrupted the very essence of what made the Green Lanterns heroic. But fear is just one emotion on the spectrum, and where there's fear, there must also be hope. The Blue Lantern Corps represents the opposite end of the emotional scale, channeling the blue light of hope to heal and inspire rather than destroy. Founded by the former Guardians Ganthed and Sade, who were exiled for showing emotion, the Blue Lanterns operate on a completely different philosophy than any other Corps. Hope is unique among the emotional spectrum because it cannot exist in isolation. Blue Lantern rings are incredibly powerful, but they require the presence of a Blue Lantern Works willpower to reach their full potential. When alongside a Green Lantern, their combined power can overcome almost any obstacle. The blue light can supercharge Green Lantern rings, remove Red Lantern rage, and even bring the dead back to life under certain circumstances. The first and most famous Blue Lantern is Brother Ward, an elephant-like being whose gentle nature perfectly embodies the Corps' peaceful mission. Unlike other Corps that actively recruit members, Blue Lanterns are incredibly select, choosing only those who can inspire hope in the darkest of times. St. Walker, another prominent Blue Lantern, earned his ring by maintaining faith and hope, even as his entire planet faced extinction. Blue Lantern rings possess extraordinary healing abilities that can cure diseases, mend broken bones, and even restore damaged planets. They can also create protective barriers that shield entire civilizations from harm. However, their greatest power lies in their ability to influence other emotional spectrum energies. Blue light can calm the rage of Red Lanterns, diminish the fear spread by Yellow Lanterns, and amplify the willpower of Green Lanterns to incredible levels. The Blue Lanterns operate from the planet Adam, which they've transformed into a paradise where hope flourishes in its purest form. Unlike other Corpus headquarters that focus on military might, Autumn serves as a sanctuary where beings from across the universe can find peace and healing. The planet itself generates hope energy that feeds the central blue battery, creating a self-sustaining cycle of positive emotion. However, hope's greatest strength is also its greatest weakness. Blue Lanterns struggle in situations where hope seems impossible to maintain. Their rings become significantly less effective in the presence of overwhelming despair despair, or when separated from sources of willpower. This limitation means that Blue Lanterns often serve as support rather than frontline fighters, though their impact on any battle cannot be understated. Moving to the opposite extreme, we encounter the Red Lantern Corps, fueled by the Crimson Light of Rage. Founded by Atrocitus on the blood-soaked planet Ismal, this corps represents pure, uncontrolled fury given physical form. Red Lanterns are not heroes by any traditional definition. They are beings consumed by anger so intense that it literally burns away their hearts and replaces their blood with liquid plasma energy. The Red Lantern origin story is one of tragedy and revenge. Atrocitus was one of the few survivors of the massacre of Sector 666, where the robotic manhunters, predecessors to the Green Lantern Corps, went haywire and exterminated all life in their assigned space sectors. This tragedy was covered up by the Guardians of the Universe, who simply replaced the malfunctioning manhunters with the Green Lantern Corps without acknowledging their responsibility for the genocide. Consumed by rage over this injustice, Atrocitus performed a blood ritual that tapped into the red light of the emotional first spectrum. He forged the power ring from his own fury and began recruiting others who had suffered similar injustices. Red Lantern rings seek out beings who have experienced great loss and betrayal, particularly those whose anger burns so intensely that it threatens to consume them completely. Red Lantern rings function differently from other power rings in several crucial ways. When someone becomes a Red Lantern, the ring literally burns out their heart and replaces their blood with red plasma energy that they can vomit as a corrosive, napalm-like substance. This transformation makes them incredibly difficult to kill, as they no longer depend on traditional biological functions for survival. The rage energy grants Red Lanterns incredible physical strength and the ability to create constructs, though these constructs tend to be crude and violent compared to the sophisticated creations of other corps. Red Lanterns excel in close combat situations where their berserker fury can overwhelm more tactical opponents. Their plasma vomit can burn through almost any material and is particularly effective against Green Lantern constructs. Red Lantern rings also have a unique property among power rings. They cannot be removed once worn. The ring becomes permanently fused with its host, and attempting to remove it results in immediate death since the wearer's biological functions have been completely altered. This makes joining the Red Lantern Corps a permanent and irreversible decision that binds members to their rage for eternity. So there you have it, every single Lantern Corps that has shaped the DC universe for billions of years. From the noble Green Lanterns wielding willpower to protect the innocent, to the terrifying Red Lanterns consumed by rage beyond redemption. Each corps represents a fundamental aspect of what drives sentient beings across the cosmos. We've explored how hope can heal entire worlds, how fear can corrupt the purest hearts, and how rage can burn away everything that makes us human. What makes the Lantern Corps so fascinating is how they reflect our own emotional struggles on a cosmic scale. Every person watching this video has felt the willpower of the Green Lanterns when facing impossible odds, the fear that the Yellow Lanterns exploit in our darkest moments, or the hope that Blue Lanterns kindle when all seems lost. These aren't just comic book characters with fancy rings. They're mirrors showing us the incredible power that emotions hold over our lives and our universe. The emotional electromagnetic spectrum proves that there's no such thing as a useless emotion. Even rage and fear, when properly channeled, can serve important purposes in maintaining the balance of existence. The real question isn't which core is the most powerful, but rather which emotion will you choose to guide your own journey through life.